Good morning. Hello. Whatever you want. I don't know. I'm sitting in my car drinking a can of chemicals, and it's delicious. So, the esteemed South American Nazi hunter Earl, as in Earl David Warden, as in the man who is currently on trial for continuous sexual molestation of his daughters, aged 13 to 16, put out a video, and of course he had to throw me into it because why? I don't fucking know. He's upset that Otto the Watchdog, who I don't follow and who, to the best of my knowledge, I haven't ever made a video on, but Otto was apparently arrested with his children in the vehicle, and that just broke Earl's heart as a father. The man who molested his daughters, his heart is broken over Otto getting arrested in front of his kids. Well, considering, to the best of my knowledge, Otto's homeless, and he had his kids with him living homeless, not taking his kids to school. The arrest appeared to be at night, has kids out at night, not in bed. You know, just little things. I'm thinking it's not the cops' fault that the kids were there. I'm thinking it's not the cops' fault that Otto did things that got Otto arrested. And it is never a convenient time or place to be arrested. Not that I've ever been arrested, but I can imagine. Putting some sort of unrealistic expectation that the police can't, won't, or shouldn't arrest somebody if their kids are present is pretty retarded. They would just start using kids as shields. So he was upset about that. And then it turned into Otto, a homeless man with no job, whose kids are apparently have now been taken away from him by CPS. So no home, no job, no kids, no wife. Bail bondsman wouldn't bond him out. Now, the explanation that was provided by Caroline in Fort Worth mentioned the homelessness, but she also threw in that the bail bondsman liked the sheriff or some dumb shit. Earl took it a step further. Now, apparently it's my fault. Apparently I called or had someone call the bail bondsman so that the bail bondsman wouldn't give Otto bail, because I'm just so fascinated with Otto or something. I don't know. But let's look at this logically. Let's try to figure out maybe why a bail bondsman who makes his money by providing bond for a price to criminals, why he would not provide a bond for Otto. It could be, and I'm just going out on a limb here, it could be because Otto has strong ties in not one but two states. I don't know which state he was arrested in, because again, I don't fucking follow him. Probably Texas. But we know he spends an inordinate amount of time in Colorado. And that means that he's a flight risk. He's homeless, which means that he's a flight risk. He's got no job, which means that he's a flight risk. He's got no kids, which means that he's a flight risk. He's got no wife, which means that he's a flight risk. He's got nothing tying him to that particular section of Texas, which means that for whatever his bond was, I don't know, but I can't imagine it was terribly high. Probably what, $10,000 maybe? For $10,000, the bondsman's going to get $1,000 or something, and then maybe if Otto shows up, then the bondsman will get the full $10,000 back, so he'll have profited $1,000. But if Otto runs, then the bondsman has to hire. The bondsman's out $10,000. He made $1,000, so he's down $9,000. He's got to hire a bounty hunter to go find someone with no home, no job, no kids, no wife. How do you find someone like that? Someone who's tied into a network of auditing retards, so he could go literally throughout the country. That's what we call a poor investment. If Earl's theory is true and the bail bondsman loves the cops and doesn't give bonds to bad people, then how the fuck did Earl get a bond? These bail bondsmen are in the business to make money. Now, I'm not a bail bondsman. I don't claim to be a insider or have any inside information or know exactly how they do it, but I'm sure that they do some sort of a risk assessment before they invest in somebody. Earl has property in Harris County or wherever it was. That makes him less likely to run. He's got kids in that county or in that area, much less likely to run. Grandkids. He's got a girlfriend in that area. I mean, he has a lot of things tying him to that particular stretch of ground. That might be the difference, mightn't it? I mean, if a bail bondsman will bail out a child molester, a man who allegedly continuously molested his own daughters, then don't you think that a bail bondsman would provide bail for someone who has allegedly, I don't know, disorderly conduct or breach of the peace or what? I don't know. Again, I don't follow Otto. I don't fucking care. Earl needs a bad guy. Earl needs to be the good guy. Earl needs a bad guy. And Earl uses terrible logic. I heard the other day that Earl and Justin Pullian, Alfred E. Newman's lesbian sister, pudgy lesbian sister, were bragging that it was Pulliam's record request that prompted the DA to file charges against those two cops in Houston. And that is the dumbest thing I think I've ever heard. And the fact that people buy into it just really speaks poorly of our education system and the quality of people who watch these videos. And I'm not a DA, I'm not a cop, I'm not speaking with any kind of professional knowledge of any of this. I'm just saying, here's logic for you. Number one, it takes time to prosecute someone, and they go when they're ready to go. They have to do an investigation first before they decide to press charges. That takes time. It was going to happen at some point in time if there was something for them to do, but it takes time. You got to remember, they were investigating Earl from somewhere in 2017 until they finally arrested him in spring or early summer of 2019. A year and a half, something like that, 2 years. It took time. Number two, the nature of the crime that the officers are being charged with, it's murder, but they get to that murder because they recklessly or negligently, criminally negligently, caused someone to be killed. And they did that by lying on the warrant. That's the allegation. Now, I don't know what kind of records you're going to get that show the officer lied on the warrant. I mean, you might get a copy of the warrant. Sure, that's going to show what the officer said, but that doesn't show it's a lie. So you're not going to get, in an open records request, you're not going to get the lie. Well, you're not going to get what shows it's a lie, I should say. And you're not going to be able to prove that it was a lie as opposed to a mistake. And there is a difference. If the officer in signing the warrant sent people to 3131 Mockingbird Lane instead of 1313 Mockingbird Lane, that's a mistake. Unless he meant to send them to 3131 Mockingbird Lane. But you have to be able to prove that. You have to be able to prove it was a lie. Number three, if there was an ongoing criminal investigation, and if the documents were relevant to it, then those documents don't have to be turned over in an open records request. So whatever Pulliam got are records that, number one, the state wanted to give him, and by the state I mean whoever he requested the records from, presumably the police department or the city. So he got the records that are either irrelevant to any ongoing investigation or are commonly known. And finally, despite what these yokels think, the police department and the DA's office are two entirely distinct and separate entities. Do they work together? Sure. Does that make them the same? No. Did the DA... You'd have to show, I mean, in order to even make that a plausible theory, you'd have to show the DA even knew that those records were being turned over, whatever records Pulliam got. But I guarantee you that they did not give Pulliam the records. They didn't give Pulliam the records that incriminate the officers, or that they believe incriminate the officers. So it's just stupid. It's just, I absolutely don't understand the thought process behind Earl and his lies and shenanigans. And finally, as far as his do not call flashing up on the screen as he gives and reiterates the phone number for that Texas bail bondsman, if you are naive enough to think that doing that kind of thing will protect you from a charge, well, I wasn't asking, I specifically said not to. Courts aren't stupid. They'll understand it. They'll figure it out. You're not going to fool anybody. You're not going to fool the court. If there is an element of a crime where you specifically ask for people to harass a business by calling them, then they would still be able to show that element. Small do not call as you give the phone number repeatedly doesn't do anything. That's dumb person thought right there. That's idiot speak. But if your attempt to call flood them has the same effect that it's had on where I work, then, well, they should thank you for it. Because where I work, number one, I have more hours than I can actually deal with. We've actually had to hire another attorney to soak up more billable hours because we have more clients than ever. And I don't know if this particular call flood that Earl's asking for on my office where I work, I don't know if it's going to have any effect. The last two didn't have any effect. And as far as Earl ever talking to me, he claimed once before he actually spoke to me. He doesn't. You won't be able to. No one will. And it's not because I'm a coward. It's because my time is money. My time makes the office money. My time is what gets sent to the client to pay. If I am not generating money, then it's costing everybody. And so if you call, you're going to get one of two things. You're going to get a secretary, I guess a paralegal. We had to hire a paralegal too. Yeah, you guys are really killing our business over here. But you're going to get the secretary or the paralegal who will answer your call. If you are not part of a pending case, then you're going to get a voicemail. You're going to go to voicemail, or they'll take a message. Anyway, slice it. You don't get to talk to me. Sorry to burst your bubble. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.